Hey y'all, what's going on? It's Barb Meets World, and we are back again to discuss Married to Medicine Season 11, Episode 10, which is entitled Battle of the Exes. Okay, before we get into all that, y'all, go ahead, hit the like button, please, and thank you. It helps me and my channel in terms of the algorithm, helps me attract new subscribers such as yourself. And if you're not a current subscriber, not exactly sure what you're waiting for, but go on ahead, hit the subscription button, become a Barb's babe. I would love to have you. And also, I would love to know your thoughts, opinions, comments on this episode in the comment section below. I would love to have a little kiki and talk to you all about the episode down there. So go ahead, leave me a comment. Also, share us with all of your folks near and far. Yes, please do all of those things, as well as checking the description box and following me on all of my social medias that are now scrolling along the bottom of the screen. And where we at? Boom, here we are. Let's get into it, y'all. Okay, so there was a kayak relay race that, we kind of left off on, about to pick up on whatever last week. And here we go with this kayak relay race. And so again, we talked about how the teams were divided last week. So we got each team, a member from each team paddling out there, and they're all trying to win, right? Yeah, all trying to win, except, Dr. G loses his way just a tad, y'all, and goes tumbling down into the water, falls right off his board. I was just like, of course. Were you surprised? I definitely wasn't surprised. Him of all people. And so Cecil also, he took a fall as well, but he was well, I don't know if that's better or worse, honestly, now that I think of it. He was all the way at the dock, and he went under. Heavenly and Contessa, they were struggling just like they are struggling to reconcile after everything that's going on between them. They was struggling out there on that kayak too. Phaedra and Jackie, they actually entered Cuban waters. I'm like 100% sure of that. They were so far out, y'all, that I am 100% sure they were in Cuban waters. You can't tell me that they weren't. Sorry, y'all. I'm trying to adjust myself. I'm knocking all stuff around. Anyway, in the end, though, Team Goldfish, which was Cecil and Simone, as well as the new couple, they all won. Yay! Woo! Great. Okay, cool. And Steven, he gives me like, he a little corny, but he looks like he likes to have a good time. So I ain't got nothing bad to say about them yet. Afterwards, Sweet Tea tries to give Dr. G like this little pep talk, if you will, trying to get him, on board with trying to get along with Quad and everything. He really just is not whatever. She wants them to rise above she wants him to rise above the BS, because that's what she's had to do. And everyone else was getting ready for the pool party. So getting ready for the pool party, and Phaedra, unbeknownst to us at the time, she actually did go on ahead and invite her a little date, a little +1, and that's Cheick. I don't remember how to pronounce his name. I'm sorry, but he was an unexpected addition that kind of has everybody like raising their eyebrows, kind of like, how's it's gonna go? And especially Dr. Heavenly, because she knows that she invited Apollo, Phaedra's ex-husband, y'all already know. So it's like, what is about to happen? Inquiring minds can only know. But again, everybody else also doesn't know that Apollo's coming the next day either. She does wind up telling Simone that he's coming, and she doesn't think, though, that he's going to be bringing his wife because of whatever reason. So that's going to be hella weird, probably. And Simone was just like, very much like, girl, what? Oh my God. Simone was like, I don't know. Anyway, everybody else starts to come out. King's got his shirt open. Toya had a lot to say. Like she be having a lot to say about King. And I'm like, let me find out you got a little crush on King, Toya. But y'all know her and Eugene are very secure in their marriage from what they've always told us. And it looks like they just have like a good time and accept each other for who they are. So I take it with a grain of salt, but y'all peeped it. Y'all know you did. Toya was definitely, she even said, she was like, I could have married a very athletic man, but I chose Eugene. I'm just like, okay, like, oh my goodness. Anyway, so they do this like game, right? They do this vibe check game, and it's supposed to like, you're basically supposed to write down what the other person would have wrote down or some along those lines. Like they got the whiteboards. Y'all know. I feel like we pay some variation of this game on every type of cast, couples type trip type thing or whatever, right? So it's kind of like, the match game, I guess. So what they also clue in on is the fact that there's no actual pool, and y'all said it was a pool party. Contessa seemed very disappointed in that. And honestly, I can't even disagree with them. Had there actually been a pool, it probably wouldn't have ended in what it ended in. But nonetheless, we here now. And as everybody is popping up, Phaedra then walks out with her date. And of course, a few of the ladies recognize him as dude from the speed dating event. And of course, we got Sweet Tea over here trying to take all the credit for that. She's an expert at this whole thing. I'm like, girl, that was a coincidence. That was chance. And that was just done for the show. Like, come on now. Phaedra would never give you the satisfaction of having you think that you set her up. Like, come on now. Anyway, Toya even asked them, like, so do you have your own room, or like, what's up with that? And they do have separate rooms again for the show. She not really dealing. She don't really care about that dude. Anyway, I forget what the first question was. I think it was like, how fast did they, get into bed with one another? Like how fast did they sleep together when they first got together? I want to say it was something like that. And Scott, he kind of threw everybody off at first, but gotta remember that they were long distance for forever, and they would see each other like once a year. So that's kind of, summarizes that up. And Eugene and Toya, they got real technical with it, which I thought was funny. Quad and King cheated, so they don't count. And so then we move on to the next question, which was about parenting styles. And we already know the Whitmores are both softies. And that is exactly why their sons are conducting themselves as grown-ass men the way that they are. Sorry, I had to say it. Somebody had to say it, right? King, we find out he has a daughter who's 9, and Quad actually says that he's a great dad, and it actually is what is encouraging her to bust it wide open for Mr. King, okay? And I feel like that's like kind of where it starts to, get a little, spicy, but it's cool up until this point. Then we move into the next question, which has to deal with how many times everybody has sex. So it's safe to say there's a lot of sex going on within the group, that there's not a lot of sex going on within the group, I should say, with the exception of Quad and King, which is not surprising. They still are in their honeymoon phase. They're still very hot for one another. So I would expect to hear that they do it multiple times a day. They say 15 times, or not a day, a week. They say 15 times a week, which I'm like, okay. Oh, well, I guess I need to go sit over here with everybody else because, okay. I mean, I get it. If you can get in as much as you want to and that's what you want to do, then by all means. But everybody else is kind of like, okay. And this is where Quad starts to turn around, and it starts to appear obvious that she's a bit inebriated. And I feel like at first, Toya, you were hyping her up. You were kind of falling into it with her. But it does start to get awkward because Dr. G and Sweet Tea are right behind her. And I agree, Eugene. It was very much a volcano of a situation just waiting to erupt and just brewing. And this is where Quad, they kind of start to go back and forth because she's like, I chose to end that marriage, and it's done. And Sweet Tea, she was trying to make her comebacks, of course, and say like, oh yeah, he wanted the marriage, but he wanted the marriage to end. Like he wanted the marriage to end. Girl, I was with Heavenly. He did not. And Damon was real quick. Like y'all say that Damon don't ever say nothing. He don't ever speak up. He don't ever, check his wife, as y'all say. But in this moment, he definitely did let her know, like, girl, like it's about to get worse. You saying stuff, they laughing, like it's just come on now. But I forgot to say also before that, Quad was talking about how they need to have more sex, and because we need a little baby Lunsford running around here. Do we though? And she would be responsible for the baby shower. It's actually Toya that said that first, like, oh, you do baby showers. Like, I'd be responsible for your baby shower. So again, Toya, you're saying all this, but you were playing into it, playing into the drunken banter at first. Don't say you weren't. I saw it. Anyway, so Dr. G also, this is where he speaks up to say that he did fight for his marriage, but it gets to a certain point where, it turns unhealthy, and simultaneously we have Quad saying, it wasn't right for us and whatnot. And she supports this marriage and the marriage between him and Sweet Tea. And Dr. G, he wasn't trying to hear that. He was like, yeah, and we don't care what you think. And that's where it just went like even more left, because she was trying not to take it there. So she says, and Contessa actually did wind up walking over at one point to, I guess, de-escalate the situation. But I didn't really see what she did or didn't do. And so Quad actually winds up referring to Dr. J as a narcissist, just as Sweet Tea's trying to respond. And we got, Quad saying like, girl, I'm what you want to be. Okay. Like I want you. And honestly, based off of, if you guys didn't believe it before, you should have believed it last week when, why is your brand, your speed dating event brand named the same thing that her seasonings are? Why you still got stuff up in that house that was in that house when she was in the house? Why is everything pointing at you? She stepped out of these Louboutins and you just stepped right into them. We've been seeing that. I've been seeing that since last season, y'all. And I keep coming down here and trying to tell you guys, like, she was obsessed with that lady's life. She was a fan of the show. She watched, and that's why she led with, I can give you what you want in the DMs. You can't tell me otherwise. And just as she's trying to, come back at Quad, we hear Dr. G saying, babe, babe, telling her to be good. And I'm like, what is she, a puppy? Is she a 2-month-old puppy? Like, what are we saying right now? Are you? And I was with Quad about that. Like, my man would never talk to me like that because, like, it's just so easy to make fun, I feel like, of them because anyway. And so they're getting very, loud and everything. And that's actually when Simone is like, you know what? Cut. It's been a night. Game over. And Cecil, he was funny when he said that, for once, like it basically didn't have nothing to do with Heavenly. Heavenly didn't have nothing to do with it. She did not. Shout outs to you, Heavenly. You had nothing to say about it. And I think that's because it transpired exactly how it was going to eventually transpire. And I say that because, well, I'll save that for a minute. But afterwards, we have Quad going in about how she traded in that motherfucking Mrs. Lunsford for Mrs. King. Don't play with it. Quad, oh my goodness. Like Quad, I'm not gonna lie, she was giving her best Miss Quad. And this is why people be, having some things to say. I'm not gonna lie. And she was like, what part of America is that baby from? And Beverly was like, Texas, bitch. Hollering. Because at that same time, we got Dr. G and Sweet Tea over here still going at it. He's still pissed off at her for getting involved in it. And she's like, her whole thing is she wasn't getting involved in it as much as she's not going to basically let anybody disrespect her or start with her. She's going to respond, which I mean, I agree, I can understand, but at the same time, you ain't no match, one. And two, to all parties involved, this was only a matter of time, y'all. It was a ticking time bomb slash. Do I think just a little? Again, I'm gonna save that. I'm gonna save that because that kind of ties into a point that Damon actually made later on. Quad was also, saying all this in front of Dr. Mimi, who is a psychiatrist? I believe she's a psychiatrist. I don't want to misspeak. I believe she is, but she just seeing this as, I don't want to say a venting session. What did she call it? She called it a, what did she call it? Or it was, actually, it wasn't even just her talking about that. Her psychological assessment was, it's a rapid or pressured speech. So she just gonna let her just get it out pretty much and, stay out of it for that matter. And King was also telling, I believe it was, Steven, how, Quad, she does have, a lot of past like hurt and stuff that's, still present, and she does acknowledge it and apologize for it when it rears its head, but it is a process that takes time. I can understand that. Yeah, I can, regardless of the fact that you wanted the marriage to end or not. Like it's still something that you have to heal through, no matter if you wanted it to end or not. It's something that can still, piss you off if triggered. I can understand. I can. And she was like, he being Dr. G can't say a goddamn thing because he did her wrong. She built him up, and at the same time she did make sure to say that it ain't Sweet T's fault, but she is going to be collateral damage in this if she chooses to chime in every time it involves her husband. Which and that I can understand too, which is why I say across the board, I understand it was going to come to this point eventually. With you guys all thinking you were going to get on this show, it was only a matter of time that you would be put into an awkward position, or something was going to get said, or something was going to come up. It was. Sorry. Anyway, meanwhile, Sweet Tea and Dr. G, they slip off and go to their room. They still can't seem to come to a meeting point with everything. They're going back and forth. She doesn't know why he's so upset. He's just trying to go take a walk or whatever. But before he leaves the room, he's like, it's over. Let it be over. Him and her over. She moved on. Let them move on. He's tired of the negativity. He wants to move past it. Like he's just done with it. Let him say it, tell it. Okay, whatever. And she says that, anyone can see that B was, pushing his buttons. And I don't think that Quad was pushing his buttons, like making it about him as much as it was about, again, like her and what she wanted to say. And yes, do I think alcohol played a part in it? Yes, I definitely do. I'm not naive to the fact that she was definitely sipping. But again, this is where we're at, right? Anyway, so Sweet Tea steps back out, and everybody pretty much is still outside. And she speaks with Contessa and Toya while Scott goes off to look for Dr. G because he's not answering. And she tells them that he doesn't want her going back and forth pretty much. And Contessa was like, girl, like she was drunk. Like, could you not tell that? And Toya brings up how, Quad did stopped having sex with Dr. G 3 years prior to them divorcing, whatever. And then fast forward to now, she's on, King 15 times a week. He's flexing without even trying to flex half the time. And it's pretty much just rooted in jealousy is what she was trying to break it down to. And I do think that plays a part in it as well. I definitely do. And so at the same time, Damon, Heavenly, Jackie, and Curtis are in their rooms or whatever. And Damon's whole thing is kind of still speaking to that same tune of like, or I shouldn't say speaking the tune of jealousy, but it was like, a person could think that they can handle a situation until they're in the situation. And, you know, you see the new wife is there, old wife is there, new boyfriend is there. It's just a lot for anybody to deal with. And quite frankly, if it was him, he would have been on a plane out of here. And Curtis says that he would have never even came back into the situation. Yeah, we know Curtis. And Jackie says that, yeah, she wouldn't even wanted him to. So again, we all see the writings on the wall, y'all. So I don't understand why now people are in the blogs talking about, oh, quad so ghetto, quad so this, quad so that, when no matter how you broke this situation down, no matter how you know, played it, this was going to be a blow up eventually. And it doesn't negate the fact that I do believe Quad when she says that she did all these things. And she's the truth is gonna be told regardless. I don't see anything wrong with that. It wasn't gonna be it. Y'all came back on the show. You came back on the show, Dr. G. You came on the show, Sweetie, and you thought it was just gonna be sunshine and rainbows, and you're figuring out quite fast that it's not. Also, though, Quad at the same time, coupled with the alcohol, do I think that, you know, maybe just maybe you could have been like laying it on a little bit thick too, because like King was there, or just like was a lot going on, like whatever. Like, yeah, I can understand that too. No matter what, y'all, it's a lot for any party involved to deal with. But at the same time, I don't ultimately feel too bad for certain people, because like I said, they actively chose to put themselves in this situation. I did think that this was going to be a fight episode. Unfortunately, it was not. Ugh. So we have to wait, what, like 2 weeks for that? Dang, that sucks. But it is what it is. I think this season for me, it got a little boring a little bit in there. Can't lie, but it's starting to heat back up. I still enjoyed this episode, even though it was really only 2 scenes. But what was being said was quite interesting, if I do say so myself. So y'all, you already know what to do. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share, do all of the things. Let me know what you guys thought in the description box below. Let me just look over my notes one more time, make sure there was nothing else I wanted to say. Yeah, we had ended with Sweet Tea still calling Dr. G, and it was going straight to voicemail. Yeah. And quite frankly, at this point, if I was them, I would be like, you know what, me and my significant other, me and my spouse, whatever, we about to just be over here for the rest of the trip. We not even going to, yeah, we're just gonna do our solo thing, because again, it was a volcano, and this wasn't even the main eruption, y'all. This was just the pre-eruption, if you ask me. This was just the buildup. But we're gonna get into it when the time comes, y'all. Again, comment, like, share, subscribe, do all of the things, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye.